In this next task, we are going to take all of our research that we've been doing, all the cards that we have started organizing, and we are going to start drafting. This is where it gets really exciting because you're actually starting to put everything together and make a very specific plan for how you're going to make this report. So I'm going to go through some of the recommendations here. This comes from the Houghton Mifflin Company and is part of their United States history information for grade 5. So part 2, drafting. When you finish your research, it's time to write a draft of your report. A draft is a rough copy. Don't try to make it perfect. Don't worry about correct spelling and grammar right now. Use your draft to get your ideas down on paper. Write as if you were talking. You'll have a chance to edit and revise your report later. So first, organize your note cards. Spread the cards out in front of you. Look for cards that have information about the same main topic. Put those cards together. Decide which task you'll write about first, second, and so on. And hopefully you've already done that and put those sections together in your envelopes. From there, you are going to make an outline. Main topic is going to be listed. That's your key idea. Of each of those stack of cards, you can use a Roman numeral. The example here just has it start with the star, but traditionally you would use a Roman numeral, like 1, main topic. And then you can break it down into supporting detail, supporting detail. Then you might have your second main topic, and then supporting detail, supporting detail. You will need to organize these cards, and I recommend just writing numbers on them. If this is card number 1, card number 2, then when I write them down on my outline, all I have to do is write card 1, card 2. And that's the easiest way for me because I don't want you to rewrite all of your cards. You've already gotten it written down. So it's better if you have a way of organizing them without having to rewrite all of that. Now here you're going to need at least 3 main topics. Yes, you could always do a 4th. I always leave that as an option, but 3, the great number 3, is really good for organizing your ideas. You are then going to need to come up with an introduction, something that introduces your topic. This is not where you're introducing who you are. This is where you're introducing what your topic is. Sometimes I still get reports where somebody says, "Hello, my name is such and such, and I'm going to tell you about." We know who you are. You are introducing the topic. Now here in your informal outline practice guide for a report or essay, this tool comes from Sopris West Education Services and is part of our Step Up to Writing curriculum. It is a very useful tool, and I would highly recommend using this for any time you are going to be writing a research report. So kids, use your tools. So title, you can come up with a cool, clever title. You might just want to use the main T equals that you've been doing for now and come up with a clever title for the final draft. Introductory paragraph. On this one, I do actually want you to write it out. So there is a section here where you are going to write out your thoughts. So how are you going to get the reader's attention? What's maybe some interesting factoid, something that's going to catch somebody's interest and make them want to read more. Here where it says block out your report, you are simply going to make a sentence out of, first I'm going to talk about this, second this, third this. There are lots of ways that you can write that in a very simple 1-sentence roadmap of here's where I'm going to take you. Readers really do appreciate knowing what am I going to learn about today, and it helps your brain keep track of the information and organize it better. So it's just a 1-sentence, first, next, last. You can use whatever transition words you want in there, but you definitely want to give us a roadmap of where this report will be taking me today. Now here we are going to have the key term, the topic here. And then you'll see there's a difference here between the dots and the dashes. My dash here is a main idea. So for example, in my research report, my example topic was about Chinese immigration to Montana. And here I might want to start with the railroads as my first main topic. But I'm then going to break it down a little bit. So I first want to talk a little bit about the Intercontinental Railroad, even though it doesn't go through Montana. That's a really important part of the story of how Chinese immigrants ended up coming to Montana. And then I would also include as my second topic the treatment of Chinese workers in these railroad camps. Definitely not a very happy part of the story, but an important part of this history research as well. So that is why I have two different topics here. They're both related to the railroad. And then I'm going to have subtopics. And here's where you're going to write card 1, card 2. So that supports my opinion on the matter. If I'm going to say Chinese workers were not treated as well as other ethnicities, I need to back that up with some facts. And so this is where I am going to say, according to this source, or according to this interview, this is what I learned about this topic. So again, you are going to tell me the main piece of information there, but then you're going to back it up with evidence. Now on this piece, I do have it set up so that there's 1 on the front, and then I have it set up so that there's 3 on the back, because this one is entirely optional. You do not have to use this 4th topic, and it says optional paragraph, just to remind you of that. No, you won't get extra credit. It's just there if you need it. Now on the bottom here, it reminds you that you need to have a conclusion. Anytime you're going to be doing research or sharing information or ideas, you need to give your conclusion, your ideas of why is this important? Why should I care about this? What information were you surprised about? What really made you say, yeah, that's amazing, or, oh, that's terrible? I want to know your thoughts, opinions, and feelings about what you have been researching on so diligently. This is also where you can use a card. You might use a card in the introduction too if there's some interesting catch your attention piece of information. So maybe I want to use a card. Here's one from my resource from John Ellingson, and this one I specifically used a quote. You can tell it's not my words because there are quotation marks at the beginning and the end. And if I decide to use this quote in my conclusion, as I type my conclusion, I will put the quotation marks around it. And so I might say my opinion and everything, and then according to John Ellingson, or as John Ellingson pointed out, through their hard work and honesty, they eventually won a grudging respect from the non-Chinese inhabitants of Alder Gulch. So that piece of information could then support my conclusion as well. Now, if you want to use a card in your conclusion, I know I've had students complain before that there's no way to do a conclusion card. You could just tuck it in the 3rd one and just write a note to self, conclusion card, because you're going to have, you're going to have your C equals anyway. You could say like card 10. Yes, you could do it that way. All right, from here, once you have this outline done, you will have written out a rough of your introduction, a simple roadmap of what are the main topics you're going to tell me about today, your key idea with supporting details, key idea with supporting details, key idea with supporting details. This part's optional. You can just put an X through it if you don't want to use that part. And then this is the part that I care the most about. The facts and everything are lovely and wonderful, but I want to know, what did you learn from this? What surprised you? What interested you? What really made you think? What did you connect to that you said, hey, that reminds me of something? So I want to know your conclusion as the most important part of anything that you research. So that is part 2, drafting. And then next, we'll see what we do with it once you have a draft written up.